The ongoing tension between Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James had already been simmering for weeks, but the situation intensified dramatically when a video reportedly leaked by Smith began circulating online. Some fans even speculated that the clip could potentially damage LeBron's reputation in a serious way. What originally appeared to be nothing more than a disagreement between a media personality and a professional athlete gradually evolved into something far more personal. As the conflict deepened, the entire basketball community began paying closer attention, trying to understand exactly what had happened and why the situation had escalated so dramatically. At the center of the growing controversy was a question that captured the curiosity of fans and commentators alike. What exactly had Stephen A. Smith revealed, and why had it caused such a massive reaction across the sports world? The dispute, which initially started as routine sports commentary, quickly transformed into a headline-grabbing clash between one of the most recognizable voices in sports media and one of basketball's most celebrated superstars. The tension first began gaining widespread attention earlier in the year when Smith unexpectedly found himself in a public disagreement with LeBron. What began as ordinary analysis on television soon turned into a heated exchange that would dominate sports headlines for months. Beneath the surface of the debate was an issue that went beyond statistics and performance. It involved something deeply personal, the instinct of a father to defend and protect his child. The individual at the center of the debate was LeBron James. Unlike most rookies entering the league and attempting to establish themselves, Bronny carries a unique burden. He is the son of LeBron James, widely considered by many to be among the greatest players ever to step onto a basketball court. That connection alone places an extraordinary level of attention and scrutiny on his career, far more than most young athletes ever experience. When Stephen A. Smith offered his opinion about whether Bronny was truly prepared for the NBA, he likely did not expect his comments to ignite one of the most talked-about confrontations in modern sports media. To understand how everything began, it is necessary to revisit early 2025. During an episode of First Take, Smith delivered direct remarks about Bronny James. His commentary came after a game against the Philadelphia 76ers in which Bronny logged 15 minutes on the court but failed to score. Smith did not soften his evaluation of the performance. He openly discussed the young player's showing and framed his remarks in a way that immediately sparked debate among viewers and fans. However, his critique did not stop with that single performance. Smith went even further, making a statement that many people considered highly controversial. He suggested that Bronny's presence in the NBA had more to do with his father's influence than with merit alone. In fact, he said he was pleading with LeBron, not as a critic but as a concerned father, to reconsider the situation, arguing that many observers believed Bronny's NBA opportunity existed primarily because he was LeBron James's son. Smith continued building on that argument by claiming that LeBron's actions might actually harm his own son's development. According to him, pushing Bronny into the NBA too early could place enormous pressure on the young player while simultaneously limiting opportunities for other athletes striving to earn a spot in the league. He suggested that Bronny would benefit more from spending time in the G League, developing his skills and potentially averaging 20 to 25 points per game until he was truly ready for the NBA spotlight. Before critics could accuse him of unfairness, Smith attempted to justify his position with comparisons from other sports. One example he brought up involved a famous boxing moment, the fight between Marvis Frazier and Larry Holmes. Marvis, the son of legendary boxer Joe Frazier, had once stepped into the ring against heavyweight champion Holmes and was quickly knocked out. Smith used this example to illustrate what he believed could happen when the child of a famous athlete enters competition before being fully prepared. For many listeners, this analogy felt particularly harsh given Bronny's recent history. In July 2023, while playing college basketball at University of Southern California, Bronny suffered a cardiac arrest during a practice session. The medical emergency had a significant impact on his college career and raised serious concerns about his health and future in the sport. Because of that background, some observers believed Smith's comparisons were insensitive. Smith also backed his arguments with numbers that he repeatedly referenced during discussions. Early in Bronny's NBA career, the statistics were modest. Smith pointed out figures such as 0.3 points per game, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. He emphasized that the rookie had made just one of 16 shot attempts overall and had gone 0 for 7 from three-point range across 13 games. In Smith's view, these numbers suggested that there were countless aspiring players around the world who were statistically more prepared for the opportunity. Those comments clearly struck a nerve with fans and, eventually, with LeBron James himself. To understand why the remarks resonated so deeply, one must consider the powerful relationship between LeBron and his son. For years, LeBron had openly spoken about a dream that meant more to him than championships or individual accolades: playing in the NBA alongside Bronny. Back in 2022, during an interview, LeBron explained that he hoped his final NBA season would take place wherever Bronny ended up playing. He openly stated that he would do whatever was necessary to share the court with his son for at least 1 year. That statement was not a casual remark. He repeated the sentiment multiple times over the years. When the moment finally arrived in 2024 after the Los Angeles Lakers selected Bronny in the draft, LeBron described the experience as the greatest accomplishment of his basketball life. Despite having achieved nearly every possible individual honor in the sport, sharing the floor with his son meant more to him than anything else. For LeBron, the situation had always been about far more than basketball. He has consistently demonstrated a deep commitment to his family and has remained actively involved in his children's lives. From coaching Bronny in youth leagues to supporting him throughout his basketball journey, LeBron has maintained a constant presence. That dedication became even more evident during Bronny's health crisis in 2023. When the cardiac arrest occurred, LeBron and the entire James family stood firmly by his side. They provided updates to the public and focused on ensuring that Bronny received the medical care he needed. The episode highlighted the strength of the family's bond. LeBron spoke openly about that connection during the 2023 ESPY Awards. During his acceptance speech, he expressed heartfelt gratitude toward his 3 children, Bronny, Bryce, and Juri, describing them as the greatest blessing in his life. Standing on stage after more than 2 decades in professional basketball, he emphasized that moments involving his family carried more meaning than any trophy. With that context in mind, it becomes easier to understand why Smith's remarks struck such a sensitive nerve. In questioning LeBron's decisions as a father, Smith was also indirectly criticizing something LeBron himself had called the proudest achievement of his career. Another important factor complicated the situation further. Smith and LeBron had a long history of tension. Over the years, Smith had frequently delivered strong opinions about LeBron's career decisions and his performances on the court. Because of that history, any criticism related to Bronny was inevitably filtered through their past disagreements. Even while criticizing LeBron, Smith attempted to acknowledge positive aspects of the superstar's character. He described LeBron as a great father, husband, philanthropist, businessman, actor, producer, and director. Yet those compliments were not enough to prevent the conflict from escalating. Everything reached a boiling point on March 6, 2025, during a game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the New York Knicks. In a moment that quickly spread across social media, LeBron approached Smith courtside with visible frustration. A viral video showed the NBA star confronting the commentator directly. According to reports, LeBron told Smith to stop discussing his son and repeatedly emphasized that Bronny was his child. The confrontation occurred in front of numerous spectators and several well-known figures attending the game. The next day, Smith addressed the incident on First Take. During the broadcast, he acknowledged that LeBron had approached him but interpreted the encounter in a specific way. Smith explained that he did not see the moment as an athlete confronting a journalist. Instead, he described it as a father confronting someone who had spoken about his son. Because of that perspective, Smith said he could not be angry with LeBron and recognized him as a caring family man. He also insisted that LeBron had misunderstood his original point. According to Smith, his criticism had been directed at LeBron's decisions, not at Bronny himself. He emphasized that he wished Bronny nothing but success and hoped the young player would eventually develop into a star. However, the question remained whether the entire situation truly stemmed from a misunderstanding or whether deeper tensions were involved. As the story continued to unfold, fans and athletes began choosing sides. What began as commentary about a rookie's readiness soon expanded into a broader debate about media responsibility, parental loyalty, and the fine line between professional analysis and personal criticism. The confrontation might have ended as a brief moment of tension if both individuals had chosen to address the matter privately afterward. Instead, the dispute escalated through a series of public statements. Smith's tone, initially cautious on television, became sharper during later discussions. On his YouTube show, Smith criticized LeBron's actions and described them as weak. He reiterated that he saw the incident as a father confronting him, not a basketball player. The situation became even more heated when Smith claimed that if LeBron had physically touched him during the exchange, he would have immediately responded by fighting back, even though he admitted he would probably lose such a fight. This rhetoric shifted the conversation from professional disagreement to the possibility of physical conflict. Clips from online parody videos and satirical content began circulating, demonstrating how the feud had also become a source of humor across social media platforms. Eventually, LeBron addressed the situation publicly during an appearance on the Pat McAfee Show. During that interview, he accused Smith of making the issue personal instead of keeping the discussion focused on basketball. LeBron explained that when someone crosses the line by involving family, he feels obligated to defend his home and his teammates. During the same interview, LeBron mocked Smith's constant media appearances by comparing them to a concert tour by Taylor Swift, suggesting that Smith was eager for the spotlight. Smith quickly responded on his own platform, accusing LeBron of dishonesty and escalating the verbal battle even further. With each exchange becoming more personal, it was clear that the original debate about Bronny's readiness had evolved into a much deeper conflict between the two men. Other figures within the basketball world eventually weighed in. Charles Barkley shared his perspective on the feud, acknowledging how personal the situation had become. Even Adam Silver was asked about the dispute due to the attention it was receiving throughout the league. One of the most controversial moments occurred when Smith claimed that LeBron had not attended the 2020 memorial service for Kobe Bryant. The statement immediately generated backlash. Smith later issued an apology on the social media platform X, admitting he had misspoken. He clarified that LeBron had indeed attended the service but had requested to remain off camera. The correction highlighted how emotionally charged the feud had become, with facts occasionally being lost amid heated exchanges. The topic was particularly sensitive because of the profound emotions surrounding Bryant's memorial. Throughout the ordeal, NBA fans actively shared their opinions online. On social media platforms and forums like Reddit, many users defended LeBron and criticized Smith's approach. Some fans argued that LeBron had endured 2 decades of criticism and had every right to finally respond. Others viewed the situation as an example of the long-standing tension between professional athletes and the media figures who analyze them. Comments circulated claiming that many NBA players had never trusted Smith and rarely appeared on shows with him. As the public exchanges continued, LeBron even teased Smith on social media by posting a video of himself boxing and adding a playful sound effect after scoring a basket against the Indiana Pacers. The gesture suggested that the dispute remained on his mind even while he continued performing at an elite level on the court. The conflict ultimately sparked broader questions about modern sports media. Many observers began wondering whether commentary had become too personal and whether there was still a clear boundary between evaluating a player's performance and criticizing their personal life. Some commentators argued that the drama was harmful to the NBA's public image. Others viewed the entire saga as entertaining theater, describing it as a spectacle fueled by television networks and social media engagement. By late April 2025, signs suggested that tensions might finally be cooling. Both Smith and LeBron appeared to move on to other topics in their public posts. Smith focused primarily on playoff analysis, while LeBron shared updates about his injury recovery and his appearance at the Met Gala. Even so, nothing had been formally resolved between them. The episode remained a fascinating example of the complicated relationship between athletes, the media, and the public audience that follows both. Smith had built his career on bold opinions that sometimes blurred the line between analysis and provocation, while LeBron had spent more than 20 years carefully cultivating an image as both a legendary athlete and a devoted father. When those two powerful figures collided over something as personal as a father's bond with his son, the explosive reaction was perhaps inevitable. Yet one crucial question still lingers beneath the drama. How do the actual facts about Bronny James's performance and development compare with the intense debate that sparked the entire controversy? Answering that question requires moving beyond emotional arguments and examining Bronny's real progress as a player, the challenges he faces as a rookie, and the extraordinary circumstances of entering the NBA as the son of someone many consider the greatest basketball player of all time. And with that perspective in mind, the conversation about Bronny's future and the controversy surrounding it is far from over.